Yeah, I'm 19. I've been shooting USPSA for 5 years now. It'll be 5. It was 4. But yeah, it'll be 5 this year. And first year or two was just, I didn't know anything, had no teachers, went out, got a Beretta, like little PX4 Storm, went to a local match in Oakdale, shot and fell in love. First day I went out, I was super nervous, shot, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I could get behind this. Shot that for like a year, got a 92 FS, a little bit longer, heavier. Shot it, got pretty good with it, and then realized I need like an actual competition style gun. Saved up my truck money, went and bought an STI, and then have shot it since. And it's
a staccato, or it was STI back then.
Yeah, and they just switched it like this last year to staccato. So
the only reason why I say that is because you say you saved your truck money. When I hear STI, I think Subaru STI.
So yeah, I had truck money, saved it.
Well, what are you walking out to the range to try this thing out there? I mean, it's local, so it's very accessible for you. So for those people listening, Oakdale from San Jose is like maybe 2 hours. Well, it's a little north and east, right? Yeah, so it's not too far, but you're in the Central Valley now. You're in the San Joaquin Valley, so it's a bit more rural.
So yeah, from my house, it's only like 30 minutes probably from where I live to Oakdale. But yeah, if you live here, there's other ranges that are closer than Oakdale and stuff that have the USPSA matches and stuff like that too.
So one of the things I think what I was getting with that was. You walking out to the range and, to this competition for the first time, this is not the first time you've been around firearms or whatever. I mean, you're an outdoorsman, right? You grew up like this. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I grew up on a ranch, like on a cattle ranch up in the hills, Hornitos. No one probably knows where that is, but it's okay. And so I grew up like the shooting aspect wasn't really necessarily for fun. It was like what we learned as like a staple, like keep the coyotes away from the cattle, keep the pigs out of the pens. You know what I mean? It was just, you shot to kill the varmints or whatever that was on the ranch, or to get food for lunch or the next day or whatever. And then it was like, target shooting in between, like bring the 22s out and plink. And so since I think I shot my first gun was like 3 or 4 and then, shot coyotes and pigs and stuff like that growing up. And not until like, I started watching movies, more action movies and stuff like that, and seeing like, oh wow, there's, you shoot fast and this and that. And my whole life, everyone, you're amazing shot, man, you're so accurate. But it was never fast because I shot bolt actions, revolvers, lever actions. You know what I mean? It was never about speed. It was about accuracy. Like, man, he hit that pig 200 yards running type of stuff.
It's like one shot.
You know what I mean? So I was like, man, you're accurate. And I was like, oh, thank you. And like, we'd go out shooting and like, oh, you see that bird 150 yards away? I bet you can't hit it. And like, oh, wow. And so it went from that, and we heard about like action shooting, right? Like, getting into it, that I found out it was like in a sport, like people do it.
How did you find out about this? So you mentioned the movie thing.
So So actually it was like at my grandparents', the first time I ever seen anything, it was at my grandparents', I remember. And it was like I don't know, it wasn't Top Shot. It was like something about like the 3-gun nationals or something at the time, right? And it was like the orange walls and like the cones, and like it was like beep, and he runs and grabs a gun shooting, and they're running through the thing. And I just remember watching it, and I was like, man, that would be really cool, but it would be really hard, like to remember where to go and all that. And everyone's like, you could probably do it. And that's like the first time I really seen it, but I didn't know how to get into it or where it was. I thought it was just like national level, like Olympic type stuff. I didn't think anyone could do it. So it went from that to just back at the ranch, just shooting, hunting, whatever. And it got to a point to where we found out about this virtual reality shooting place near my house that's not there anymore. But you go, it has like the cert Glock, like with the fake slide with the laser and stuff like that. Found out about that. And I was like, I just went to have fun, right? I just want to shoot some targets. And I go, and like there's like these bottles. It's like 10 bottles. You shoot them. 10 more bottles come in. Shoot them. 10 more.
This is like on a big, like a big projection
like a TV
screen.
The laser, like it connects the laser.
We called that Duck Hunt when I was a kid.
No,
it was on Nintendo.
It was like that, but it was like different scenarios, different situations and targets and stuff like that. And so it was cool. But I've never shot a semi-automatic handgun, right? Like I have a revolver. That's the only.
This is fascinating to me, by the way.
Like first time I ever picked up a semi-automatic handgun, and obviously it didn't cycle or anything. It was just fake Glock. So I pick it up, and the bottles did tell me what to do, shoot the bottles, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. And I set it on the table, and she was like, oh, you can start with it in your hand. And I was like, no, it's okay.
This is the lady that's kind of directing you.
This lady is just the one who runs the program, right? The first time I met her. And so she doesn't know who I am, what I've shot before or anything like that. And I think I was like 12.
Yeah, why
something like
would
that.
she, right?
Yeah, exactly. So go up and she was like, oh, you can start with it in your hand. I was like, no, I'll sit on the table like just for fun. Cause like I said, I've seen movies and shows and stuff, just like reaction time. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I'll do that. She was like, okay, like react off like it was like a light. It wasn't actually a beep. It was like a little light came on. She was like, go off that. And I was like, all right. And it goes and the bottles slide in. I pick it up. I break the 10 bottles, break the 10 bottles, break the 10 bottles. And I set it down and I turned around. The lady like looked at me and like looked at my dad and was like, wow. And I was like, what? And she was like, what do you shoot? The first thing she asked, what do you shoot? And I was like, coyotes. she was like, what? And I was like, what? She was like, what pistol do you shoot? And I was like, I don't have a pistol. She was like, yeah. She was like, I don't know who you are. I don't know your financial situation. She looked at my dad and she was like, you need to buy him a semi-automatic handgun. And we're all like, kind of like, why? And she was like, well, a cop was just in here for 3 days trying to beat that record, like what you just did. And he finally beat it yesterday. Like he got like however much time with, however many misses. I beat his time by like 2 seconds and had like 2 less misses than he did on the thing. And so I was like, I didn't know what to think of it. I was just like, oh, she says that to everyone. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I'm so sure that everyone's just good.
Totally get it.
A couple more situations, happened. I was like shooting them and she was like, yeah, like honestly, like you need to get a semi-automatic handgun. Well, even then I was like, okay, cool. I'll get a semi-automatic handgun and do what? So I went, bought a PX4 Storm. I didn't know anything about guns. So I just went into the store, picked up whichever one felt the best in my hand, I bought. Got the Storm and then went to my ranch and like, there's like it's called Sandland. So there's like it's like a hallway and there's like little things, but it's made out of colorful sand. It's crushed rock.
Wait,
basically.
So this is another range or like?
This is my ranch, my family
so
ranch.
So it's on the ranch. Okay, got it.
And so it's like 1,000 acres and there's mine shafts out there. And so what they do is they take all the quartz and stuff and they take it out and they'd smash it.
Grind it up.
Powder. Yeah, exactly. And then dump it. Well, after time, that powder became a big mound and then it got hard and then people dug into it. So now it's just like the kids had playing it. You know what I mean? When we were little, just.
Okay.
It's cool. It's just colorful sand.
Sounds awesome if you're a kid.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. We dig into the walls and make like in Utah, those like.
Yeah, like hoodoo things.
Exactly. Like going in. It was cool.
Arches.
Yeah, exactly. And so we did that. And so when I got into shooting, I was like, oh, that's like a perfect shoot house. You know what I mean? So I set up targets in it. And there's probably there's videos on my old Instagram that got hacked of like me like.
Hold on. So you're 12 years old still?
Yeah. I'm like, like 12. And so I'm like, okay, like go out and I start shooting and stuff, so I'm getting familiar with like the recoil of it and like aspect of like clearing. Oh, it jammed. What do I do? I mean, I didn't know, like I didn't watch YouTube and shit. Like I didn't know guns. So I was just learning everything. And like, I'd have a bad grip and then I'd fix it myself and be like, oh, that makes way more sense. So like, I kind of taught myself without watching any videos or having anyone tell me anything. I kind of just learned it. And so it took me way longer than it would have if I would have had YouTube or something like that.
But what a valuable experience.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Having to work the puzzle to solve the problem.
So shot it for a while like that. And I go trap shooting at Oakdale, right? This one time my dad was like, oh, they have trap shooting. You want to go? I was like, yeah, sure. So I'm trap shooting and my daddy's telling him this guy about me. And he's like, oh, have you been to the action shoots? And we're like, what? And he was like, oh, like the pistol shoots they have out here. And I was like, pistol shoots out here? And he was like, yeah, like right here in the bays, like they have action shoots. It's like, what do you mean? He was like, showed me like a video and it was like the orange walls and everything that I seen when I was like 8 at my grandparents. And I was like, what?
You're realizing it's like right down the road.
And I was like, oh, like, and they're like, yeah, like there's actually one next Sunday. Like you should come out. And I was like, oh, all right. And so I go to my cousin, Luke at Next Level Tactical. He makes holsters and, go to him and I was like, I need a holster and mag carriers for this competition. He was like, oh, I'd go out there and shoot. And I was like, oh, what? Makes me this like holster, mag carriers. I go out there dressed like a retard. I thought I had to dress different, right? So I'm like, I usually, jeans, flannel. Well, I'm like, I'm shooting. I'm tactically doing something. So I went and got like some cargo pants and like, I'm trying to like fit the part, right?
I think this is such an important part of the story, man.
I'm like trying to fit the part. And so I'm like in some Carhartts and like, I don't even know. I'm trying to be tactical or whatever. I don't know what I'm doing. And like, I go out and I'm looking at the stages and everyone's, nice. The best thing about the shooting community, you guys, everyone that I've met in the shooting community, whether at competitions, range days, are the coolest people I know in life. Like as it is, like I can meet people at the coffee shop at school, but the people in the shooting community are like, they're the ones. Mm-hmm. So, I'm meeting people, they're helping me out. Like, oh, just take your time, this and that. So I shoot and like, it looked bad. I don't even have the videos anymore. They all deleted off my phone, but it was just bad. It was just, slow. but I had so much fun. It was just so cool reacting to the buzzer and stuff. So I actually shot again that day. I shot all 5 stages again. And after that, I was like, this is it. Like, I'm getting the membership. It was 5 years ago. I'm 19. I'm not good at math. I don't know. I was like 13 or something like that. I don't know. It's like, it was a while back.
So you were about 14 when you realized you didn't like thigh straps.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I did that. And then like after I started is when I started like, I got an Instagram and a phone and I started like following people, right. And seeing like JJ Racaza and like all those dudes. And like my biggest inspiration at the time, he was not a competition shooter, but his knockout lights. I'm sure you guys follow him or Assault Dynamics now is. So yeah, I'd be like making posts at my ranch and it'd be like me like shooting around the truck with like my Beretta, like tagging knockout lights. Like, I wish I was blah, blah, blah. Like, I wish I was as good as him and stuff like that. Right. And I'm shooting, I don't know what I'm doing. And I started getting better. And like, I started understanding like the mechanics and the tactics. And it sounds stupid because like, if you told me to just take apart an engine, it's easy. I wouldn't know how to do it. But I explained to people, like, you just really look at what needs to be done, like when you're shooting, and do it. Like, it's not really that serious or that big of a deal. Like, the gun's jammed, you do this, you do that. You know what I mean? You fix it. You are missing, you fix it, type of thing. And so, yeah, now I'm posting videos and Mike's commenting on my stuff and DMing me like,
cool
dude, you're shooting hella fast, like blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? Like, I never thought he'd even look at my posts. And now he's like DMing me and stuff. So it's big journey. Yeah. Big journey.
Man, what a great story. I mean, and you're 19.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wish I would have started earlier. Honestly, I wish I would have started, because I mean, I see kids out there 8, 9 years old with full belt setup that are like better than me when I was like 16, 17, and they're 8 or 9. So I'm like, by the time they're 19, they're going to be grandmasters, like easy in the shooting world. So yeah, it was cool though. Starting out from like not knowing that it was a sport to seeing it on TV, to getting a gun, to hearing about it, just word of mouth, like, oh, there's shoots? Cool, try it. And since then, I was the first one to get into it. Then I got my brother into it. Then he got 3 of his friends into it. Then I got 3 of my friends into it. And now we have like a whole squad out there going, like, we have our own squad that JP has actually shot a couple times. He loves it. He just doesn't like to tell people. He doesn't want anyone to know that he loves USPSA shooting. But when it was just me and him at the safe table, you know, I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. We might be seeing some more content on his page.
Dude.